Hello everyone, it's Professor Stewart here, creating a last class quick hit video for you. This last class quick hit video is meant to give you valuable information about the class as it is ending, and it's also meant to give you information to pass along to help you traverse through your personal life, to help you guide as you transfer maybe to a four-year institution, or even as you transfer into your career. So think of this information as coming, yes, from Professor Stewart as your professor for this course, but also think of it as coming from Sean, just the human being, just the person, and Sean as a person who has been in your shoes before as an undergraduate. So these are valuable lessons that I think will help you along the way as you leave my class and continue your educational journey. I'm hoping to make this pretty quick, no longer than 20 minutes. You don't need to take notes. I just think it's valuable for you. So take a look at this picture. To me, this is what I think you all look like. I mean, I only got to see you all briefly during your Looking Glass projects a couple of weeks ago, and some of you only, I don't know if you were just scared, but you didn't show a lot of pictures of what you look like currently. So I have to create little, almost characters in my mind of what I think you guys look like, and I think each and every one of you in this class looks like a variation of this photo in some way, shape, form, or fashion. Very multi-ethnic, very multicultural, very multi-generational. So to me, I'm creating some sort of variation of this is what my class looks like in my online classes. These next slides, if you couldn't tell by my email, I love memes and GIFs. I call them GIFs, not GIFs. So these aren't meant to be mean. These aren't meant to degrade, demean, or demote anyone. They're just meant to make you smile, make you laugh. And maybe you can point out one of these memes and say, oh my gosh, that's me. I know when I was an undergraduate, there were several of these memes that was me. This specifically, my junior year at UT, trying to save my grades, and during finals week, they were already up in flames. It was too much. Some of you may have been watching Netflix a lot, and then said, you know what, maybe I should stop Netflix and do my work. As I said, it's not meant to degrade anyone, not meant to be mean, just trying to make you laugh. It's the end of the semester. It's been a long 6-week semester, very challenging, but you all have done well. So I'm just trying to make you laugh. Okay? So here you go. So the final exam, I think 3 or 4 of you have already taken the exam. All chapters in the book plus all quick hits are fair game. Me personally, I would go back and listen to the quick hits before I take the final exam, but you don't have to do that. It's your life. God bless. Your exam, because you're online, will be in D2L, and that was for my coming up to campus on Wednesday, May 8th. That was for my online classes from last semester. But the exam must be completed in one sitting, meaning once you open the exam, you have to take the entirety of the exam at that particular point. No extra time can be given unless there's some sort of exception. And if you are an exception, please email me, and if I have not set that exam up for you. And the other thing is all exams are 1 hour and 50 minutes, which is the time set by Lone Star College, and the time given for face-to-face exams. All final grades in this class will be posted by Thursday, July the 11th at 4 p.m. It's probably going to be earlier based on my grading style, because I don't like to procrastinate when it comes to grading. Make sure your grade alerts are on in D2L via email or text. And also, I will send a final grades email, and that will mark that the class is complete. So if you're waiting on grades, there's no need to send me an email saying, when will this be graded? What's my grade in the class? Remember, you can always see your grade, but once I send that final email, that means everything, final exam, movie analysis paper, extra credit, everything has been completely graded, and your final letter grade has been submitted. Speaking of letter grades, always double check this, your letter grade to your numerical grade. So you have a letter grade in iStar, or in My Lone Star, and then you have a numerical grade that's in D2L. You always want to check to make sure they are the same thing. Our system here at Lone Star is pretty antiquated for when you're putting in letter grades, so sometimes a professor can mess up. It happened to me 3 times last semester. I put in an A for one student, and then the next student below them, I put maybe a C or a D, and then when I clicked on the next student below that, it changed the C or a D student to the A student That's how antiquated our system is. So one of the things I want you guys to understand is I triple check grades. So going through my triple check is when I caught it before I finally hit submit. I'm not saying that some of your professors have screwed up in the past. What I am saying is it's easy to not catch it if you don't check what you got letter grade wise to what you got numerically in D2L. And keep in mind, your letter grade must go through the LSE system office. I call that the White House in the Woodlands. They are the ones that release the letter grade to your transcript. I know some of you might need your transcript for transferring purposes, but once I put in the letter grade, it's out of my hands. And I've heard students tell me that letter grade showed up on their transcript in a couple of hours. I've heard 24 hours. I've heard 3 or 4 days. This is the summer class, so I would highly suspect within 24 hours you should see it show up, provided it's not the weekend. After today, I'll no longer answer emails about grades. I'll answer emails, just not about grades, unless there's some sort of discrepancy, meaning you have a 0 in the grade book and you know you turned something in, or I told you to redo something or let you make up something and I just didn't go back in and put that grade in or put it in correctly. That's when you send me an email because that's a grade discrepancy. But when will this be graded, or can you round up my grade? Those are inappropriate emails to send to your professors at all times. These are my bosses, Dr. Lawrence Brandyberg. I was just in his office, actually. Dean of Behavioral and Social Sciences, Kathy Cecil Sanchez is the Vice President of Instruction here at University Park, and Dr. Ardalan is the President here at LSE University Park. If you want to send them a quick email, let them know Sean Stewart, Professor Stewart, is really awesome. He's badass. He needs a $1 million raise. That'd be totally awesome. If you want to send them an email saying he's the worst professor we ever had, don't even bother. They're just going to delete that. That was a joke, just FYI. Evaluations, I welcome all evaluations and feedback, and I'm a pretty open book. I'm a big boy, I can take it. So if there's something that you didn't like, and this was part of extra credit number 3, go ahead and put that in there. And there have been students send me recommendation for changes in classes that I've actually used before. So don't be afraid to send that. Evaluation D2L, that's extra credit number 2, and that is still open. Rate my professor. I realize this is how students are picking their classes nowadays. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, but I realize this is how students are selecting their classes. So if you want to go in there and give me all 5s, boost my score. I haven't even checked what my score is in the last 3 years or so I don't know. But that would be totally cool. That would be awesome. Summer 19, that's this class. That's the one class I taught. So if you want to take me for fall, just let me know. You can send me an email. I'm teaching intro, public speaking, interpersonal, and business and professional. If you want to teach me, or if you want to take me for a class, let me know. You are all part of my clique or my group nowadays. What I mean by that is, because you've had me before, if you want to take me again, and let's say my class is full, I will always override a former student to get into my classes, no matter if the class is full or not. So don't worry about that. If you want to take me for the fall, send me an email and let me know. And if you want to take a class, but you don't want to take me, and you want to know who to take, you're more than welcome to send me an email asking me that too. So statistics. I hated statistics when I was getting my doctoral degree. Part of the way my professor helped me with statistics was to have me gather some information. He explained to me, once you gather this information, I promise you'll better understand what statistics is like. So I gathered some information because I had a hypothesis. From fall 2011 through fall 2016, I taught about roughly 2,000, 2,500 students. So my hypothesis was, if you turn in your work, you're probably going to make the grade that you want to make in the class. So out of those 2,000 students, 2,500 students, 96.4%, that's the percentage who ended the semester with a C, D, or F who did not complete at least 2 assignments. That's not saying of the 2,000 students I taught, 96.4 had a C, D, or F. That's not what that's saying. It's saying 96.4% had a C, D, or F because they did not complete at least 2 assignments. 98.1 out of the 96.4%, those are the ones who did not complete at least 1 major assignment. So 1 major assignment in this class, the exams, the movie analysis paper, the poem projects, the discussion boards, when you add them all up together, those are major assignments. So the first question you should ask yourself when you see your final grade in my class did I complete every assignment in the course. So my hypothesis rang true based on statistics I had gathered. Now it's what I call open mic time. Essentially, this works better in my face-to-face class, obviously, but I've had my online classes utilize this. What this means is you can send me any question that you want related to the class and ask me what was the purpose, or why don't we do that, or I didn't understand this, and I will be open and honest with you in answering that. The most popular question that I've gotten from both online and face-to-face is, why don't you give exam reviews? So if you want me to answer that question for you, why don't I give exam, especially final exam reviews, I will 100% lay out that answer for you in that particular email. And if you email me, I will send my response to the entire class, and I will not tell the class who it was that sent the email to me. So just send me an email with the title open mic question, and I'll answer the question and send it to everyone, but I'll leave you anonymous. Here's what some past students have said on some evaluations that I've read. You grade too hard for a basic level community college class, and I pay your salary, so you should do what I say. And yes, those are actual comments I've gotten on evaluations, and that's mostly false. First things first, do you know what your tuition pays for? Your tuition pays for stuff like the electric bill here at the college. It pays to have toilet paper in the restrooms. It pays for you to have a clean campus, to have such things as Minuti on campus, things of that nature. Your tuition helps run the college, runs the actual university. Maybe 5% or less of your tuition actually goes towards faculty salary. So no, you do not pay my salary. Grading too hard for a college, basic level community college class. I also tie that in with this. You could give us more positive feedback. It's all negative. If I were to just give you all A's for every single thing that you turned in, that would be a disservice to you. You would go off thinking you did not learn anything in college, you did not learn anything at Lone Star, and you did not learn anything from Professor Stewart, because whatever you turned in was all A's. My job as a professor is to prepare you for your next step in life, whether that's your career or whether that's you transferring to a four-year institution. So think about it like this. If I were to just give you all A's, or say that every essay that you turn in was awesomely written, there are 0 mistakes, if you make those same mistakes at your next four-year institution and you get back F's and D's on those essays, one of the first things you're going to think is, well, damn, I didn't learn anything from Professor Stewart. He didn't teach me anything. I just wasted my money. My job is to not have you waste your money. So by increasing your critical thinking, by increasing your learning style, by having you understand we've got to strengthen your writing style, you have your money has been well spent, and you are now prepared to do well at the next stop, your next journey. Same thing with feedback, and I think this was one of the discussion board questions. When you say all negative feedback, there's a difference between negative feedback and critical feedback. I'm very critical in my feedback to you. And the reason I'm very critical in my feedback to you, especially on your writing assignments, is because the next time you have to write a paper of that magnitude, I want you to do well. I don't want you to make these mistakes. I want you to blow away your teachers at the next level. And then when they say, you know, where did you learn this? Well, that's what I learned at Lone Star. Professor Stewart taught me that. So I'm very critical because I want you to do better. I want you to be a better person. I want you to be a better student. So that's why I say, give us all it's all negative. I think that's half true. It's critical, and I'm trying to be critical to make you a better student and a better person. So a couple of thoughts for you as you navigate through four-year university and just for life in general. Tips for you as a student. Rule number 1, don't blame your professor for your lack of effort. And essentially what that means is it's not your professor's fault if you just did not do the work. If you knew it was 11:45 p.m. and your first post due date was due in 15 minutes, and then you just rushed and only wrote 200 words, that's not my fault. You're going to get points deducted, but that's not my fault. That's your fault for a lack of effort. Keep in mind, your professor, I'm talking about me, Professor Sean, I understand Some of you have, you work a lot, you have lives, you have families to take care of, and I think I've been pretty good at working around that with you. But sometimes I see students blaming the professor just when they in and of themselves did not put in any effort. Never email an assignment to a professor unless they tell you to do so. We didn't have none of you did that in here, so I'm totally happy with that. But this is just information to help you along the way, and past students have done that before. Something small, if you have to turn in a hard copy of a paper, which most professors are getting away from, but if you have to turn in a hard copy, always staple your paper before you turn them in. And your libraries at your four-year institutions, they'll have print centers for you to do this. And I love you guys because y'all didn't do this either. One of the first classes I've had in a while that hasn't done this. When you submit something online, never write in red or blue ink. I don't know why students do that. I always ask students to help me out here and explain why they do this. But some students, when they submit something in the Dropbox, they'll write their answer in red or blue ink. This is what I think students do this. They'll write their answer in red or blue ink so that they can so that the professor in their eyes can differentiate between what the question is that's being asked and what their answer is. And trust me, we know what that is. So always write in black ink. Couple of tips for you as a student: follow instructions specifically for that professor. I'll give you an example. First of all, you have to understand every professor is different. I'll give you an example. Students, when they enter my classes, especially online, struggle. They say, I've never written an APA format. And that's because most high schools teach you how to write an MLA. MLA is a high school type thing. Most, if not all, disciplines in higher education write an APA format. But as I told you guys, I'm not being too critical there. I just want you to start getting in the habit of that. But you have to understand different professors are different. And when you follow instructions specifically for that professor, that increases your chances of being liked by that professor, number one, which are affinity seeking strategies. But also it helps you understand that each professor has different policies and different expectations. One semester, was in my sophomore year, I had 3 classes. Well, I was taking 4 classes, but of the 3 classes, one professor was APA, one professor was MLA, and one professor was Chicago style. And it made me so angry because the professors that were MLA and Chicago style, I heard within the next year, they switched over to APA. So you always just follow instructions specifically for that professor. If you ever have a question, always ask your professor or ask your TA, teaching assistant, if you didn't know what TA is. When you do this, it increases your chances of doing it correctly, and it shows your professor and it shows your TA that you want to get it right. Sometimes students, I guess it's a pride factor, but they're too scared to email their professor to ask them questions about how to do this correctly. There are a couple of you guys send me emails all the time. Professor, am I doing this right? And I love those. I appreciate those because it shows that you want to be successful. But another way to do this is always go back and check the syllabus first, because more likely than not, your answer is going to be in the syllabus. So here's how that works. If you go to the syllabus and you see it's there or it's not there, you can still email your professor or TA. You could just say, Professor, the syllabus says XYZ, so I'm following your instructions from there. Or, Professor, I checked the course syllabus and my question isn't answered there. That's really awesome because my first thing is, oh, they did go to the syllabus and now they're trying to get more clarification. I like that from students. And finally, if you enjoyed a professor or a class, please tell them, especially professors here at the community college. I don't know if you guys know this, but here at Lone Star, I have to do my own work. I don't have a teaching assistant, so I do all of the grading, I do all of the uploading, I do all of the course design work, and you guys were just my one class this semester. Imagine during a regular semester when I have 5 and 6 classes. So it means a lot to us when you tell them that you enjoyed a class because of how much work we have to put into these courses. Something that you should understand and what I believe in, I think college is a trial run for being an adult. There are hard deadlines when you're an adult. There are consequences when you're an adult. There are hard deadlines in college. There are consequences when you're in college. So if you don't meet those deadlines, then consequences must occur. If you don't meet the deadline of turning in an assignment by the due date, the consequence is you get a 0 or you get points deducted. If you don't meet a deadline by getting something to your boss in the real world, the consequence is you might have your hours cut or you might get fired. Understand the margin for error is thin. Finances play a role. Sometimes students, you may not have the means to buy the textbook. That's when you have to communicate to your professor, and hopefully, I know I will be. I'll be understanding. Hopefully, your professor will be understanding. There. Always know that there are others who are in the class, and there are others who are in your career or in your job who can do what you do, and there are others behind you that could possibly do it better than you. That's why the margin for error is thin. I am a huge proponent of mental health being a factor in college. And what I mean is stuff such as family issues, depression, anxiety. This impacts your success as a college student. I will be open and honest with you. I myself have suffered from depression. It was right after I graduated from UT. I was depressed because I just did not know what I wanted to do in life. And this can affect your relationships as well. We have students who don't know what they're going to eat today, and it's not a decision of Chili's or Chick-fil-A. It's a matter of I don't have the means to eat dinner tonight. We have students who don't know how they're going to pay the rent for the month of July. We have students who don't have a place to live. All of these affect you as a community college, not as a community college. All of these affect you as a student, whether you're at a 2-year university or 4-year university. So the question is, how can we deal with this? And one of the first ways we deal with this is we've got to find the courage to be open and honest with someone, doesn't necessarily have to be your professor, someone so that they can help you. Remember, we are here to help you, and especially here at Lone Star, we have so many programs that are designed to help you. Our problem is students aren't speaking up to tell us that they have these particular issues. So understand that we can help you, but you gotta take that first step. So a couple of thoughts for you. Be aware of time management. Time management meaning, how am I going to juggle my personal life? How am I going to juggle school? How am I going to juggle work? A lot of you in this class have significant others. How are you going to juggle the time it takes to do this class and make an A versus the time it takes to spend time with your significant other versus the time it takes to go to work? So time management is key. I'm totally cool with failure. Failure is okay to me. I don't mind people failing. The question is, what did you learn from that? And how can you go forward not making those same mistakes that you made the first time that caused you to fail? Always be professional. This includes writing your emails. You should always start your emails to your professors. First of all, you should always fill out the subject line with what the email's about. But second, when writing your professors, Dear Professor Stewart, this is Mary from your interpersonal summer 1 class. And then Mary will write the body of her email and then sincerely Mary, signing your email. That's professionalism. Always be responsible for yourself and your work. Especially, we didn't have a group project in this class, so you guys are kind of lucky there. But especially with group projects, I see this. But even if it's not a group thing, you're responsible for your own work. As I showed you guys with that statistics that I mentioned here earlier, only you're the one that makes your grade. What I do, I don't hand out grades. I just punch a button on a computer based on the work that you did or did not do. Practice self-determination. This is essentially inherent motivation, meaning you're free to make your own choices because you know what the consequence is. An example of this, if you want to go on a personal vacation, this is a summer class, right? I'm sure many of you had travel plans. I've had students take summer classes online that were traveling to Paris, that were in Hawaii, but they knew what they were doing. So when you practice this, if you miss a deadline, you understand what the consequence is because you decided to do X, Y, Z. You decided to go to the club that night, or you decided to hang out with your girlfriend, or you decided to go with your parents to Miami Beach. When I was in undergrad, there was a situation where I really wanted to go spend the weekend with my friends in Port Aransas. Well, that meant missing one of my Friday classes. In this Friday class, that was the day we were having an exam. I chose to go to Port Aransas and take the 0 on the exam. But the reason I chose that is because I knew what that consequence was. It's going to cause my A to drop down to a very low B, but I know that there are projects and exams after this that I'm going to have to bust my butt on in order to get my A back, and that's exactly what I did. Remember, you don't get special treatment when you practice inherent motivation because you know what the consequence is, and that's totally cool. And some final thoughts for you, knowing when to be mature, not be immature, be mature. I hate being an adult. I wish I could go back to being 8, 9, 10 years old and have my mom cook for me every night and do my laundry for me, but that's not happening. Being an adult is hard, but know when to have fun as well. And this goes with your tone and professionalism as well. Always strive to be better. What I mean by that is don't let Lone Star be your ceiling. I love teaching at Lone Star. I love interacting with the students that we have at this university, but I always say don't let this be your ceiling. If you can, go on and get your bachelor's degree. And then if you can, go on and get your master's. And then if you can, go on beyond that. Not only will that help you in the long run, but retirement-wise, it's going to cause you to put some extra money in your retirement. And I'm not talking thousands of dollars, I'm talking millions. Remember these 6 words, focus on what you can control. When Michelle Obama said this, when I heard her say this, it just instantly relieved so much stress off of my shoulders. Too many times I see students focusing on things they have no control over. For example, let's take one of the major assignments in this class, the movie analysis paper. You have control over emailing me to ask questions. You have control over your writing. You have control over picking which scenes you want to pick. You have control over the analysis. You have control over the argumentation. You have control over which conflict styles apply to those particular scenes. But what you don't have control over is my grading. So if you know I've done everything the professor has asked me to do in accordance to the instructions guide, why are you worried about the grade? Focus on what you personally can control. And when you do that, that's all you need to focus on, and stress will instantly be relieved. And the final thing, I'm here for you. If you need to email me to chat, talk about life advice, you need me to babysit, I don't know about babysitting. If you need me to support you at some sort of school function or event, I'm always here for you. I have a student I had 4 years ago. Every so often he'll come up to campus, stop by my office, and we'll just chit-chat about sports and weightlifting. That's really all we talk about. So understand that I'm here for you. And one thing I do want you to know, it has been a pleasure teaching you all. I have learned so much from everyone in this class. I'm going to miss this class dearly. It's been a great semester, and I can't wait to see what you all give me on the final exam and the movie analysis project.